Okay, great. Let's I'm hearing myself. Let's not hear myself. Let us make sure we get everything. Yeah, this one. Is this working? Great. Fantastic. Okay. So today, as you can see, I'm going to be working on some plastic canvas, or at the very least, experimenting with it. But I have been busy, and by busy I mean at work. I have another character finished. Vero is now done. So he has his satchel, because he is very much the curious scholar. And then he has his sword from his family that is broken, that will be fixed somewhere down the plot line. However, I am out of chairs in for my dolls to sit. Not that y'all can see it, but they're over there. So I need to make a bunch of props. So I never really did a lot of plastic canvas when in my you know experimenting with crafts and whatnot. But I've done bits and pieces, so we're just gonna make it up as we go. Uh, using smaller than average plastic canvas, a pattern that I found that is originally designed for the fashion dolls, or like the Barbie sized dolls, but we'll make it up and we'll see how it goes. Helps if I don't split the thread. Ugh. You think I would have made sure that I got. There we go. Okay. So I kind of have it drawn out. It's a little difficult to see. I used a very light colored pencil. Um, but we're gonna hopefully see what we can do. And get this to look how we want it to look. So it definitely won't be pretty, but it'll do what I want it to do. Hopefully. And with this sort of pattern in general, with a lot of these like single square rows, it's mostly everything's mostly filled in after you or during the assembly process rather. I went into the wrong hole there. step one up this way. I don't know if it's better to do it like going diagonally in a row like this. It might be. I might have to go over it with a second. Like, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go over it again. Go over it a couple times, but once I get the pattern in, we'll see how we go from there. Or at least the double strand. I have no idea if I'm doing this particular stitch right, or if there is a right way to do it. But we're definitely gonna just keep making it up as we go. That's how I do most of these crafts. Yeah, I definitely think this would be easier with using a double, like double length. We're gonna go over the center with the second layer now while I'm over here. But yeah, I never really did a whole lot of the plastic canvas. My dad's mother was the one who did the plastic canvas, and my dad's sister. And so like I have a couple of the like ornaments that I've made. But nothing particularly crazy, nothing nearly as ambitious as this. And I probably should use like a yarn for this instead of the embroidery floss, but I have the embroidery floss lying around and easily accessible. So this is what it will be. And we'll figure out if there's a better way to do it down the line. Yeah, so this definitely doesn't quite fill in the square. Like it definitely gives it a cool effect, but it doesn't nearly fill in the square as much as I want it to. So I'm gonna have to go back and forth over this a couple times. Okay, so it looks like 3 times will at least start to get the effect that I want. I could also just do a different sort of maybe basket weave type stitch. One, 2 more. I have enough of this to work with, so once we get to the assembly portion, it'll probably be a bit more interesting. move this back a little bit so I have an easier time of holding this and setting it up how I want it. Hey, base. Thanks for the raid. Working with some plastic canvas tonight. Checking, making some props for the dolls. I think I missed a step in setting up the Discord because I don't think the notification happened, but that might be I forgot a step or something. But I finished another doll. I have the studious scholar now, complete with his bag, and he has his little notebook. Oh, okay. That makes me feel a little bit better because I'm like, I thought I followed all the directions. Hello, Podunk. I think that's what I'm gonna call you. Thank you for the follow. But so now we have the scholar, we have the drama dragon, the barkeeper, and a halfway done pompous star guard. But he's very sparkly. It looked like it should have because I'm like, but it does make sense that you have to manually add it. You should, if it's not, if I just missed it when I was scrolling through things earlier, if you put a little say, hey, you have to manually be added to this list, people won't freak out about it. So at least it would have settled my mind. But uh, yeah. So we have the literal star person. He's very disco 70s. But I have to figure out what I want his hairstyle to be. What says, like, good guy, but kind of a pompous ass at first. But that's tomorrow's project. I'm fighting with tiny squares of plastic at the moment. Uh, that does make sense. I was wondering what snozly meant. I'm like, did I somehow fall into Willy Wonka's chocolate factory? I am. I am attempting to make a chair, like a little, dining chair. That'll be all of the little parts. Because I have these, as I take her head off. Come on, Kazul. So, this is the first doll that I had finished. But rather than buying, a set of like two of these chairs for like, I don't know, $5, I can buy the sheets of plastic canvas for like 10 cents. Not quite that low, but I can buy sheets of it and make 20 chairs, and I can customize the colors. This way I don't have to worry about painting and staining and way too much, fuss. I don't have the patience to paint and stain properly. It was bad enough painting my race car with spray paint, which I wasn't allowed to do because I have no patience. I was allowed to, oh yes, go ahead and practice on this part that we won't see. And then I was like, yeah, no, no, no. Let me stick to mediums that I can instantly add the colors when I want them. Aha! There's my notification. Thanks, base. So this is the first like real project that I'm attempting to do with plastic canvas on my own. Um, there's like in the dad's on my dad's side of the family, his sister and his mom did the plastic canvas, and I have an ornament that a couple ornaments um, that we had made for that, and now I'm like, you know what, this is a nice sturdy medium where I can make rigid structures without having to stuff it. Yes, I did see that notification, so I'm like, haha, success. That is nice. Where it'll just do like a single check to say, oh, it's live, and I haven't shouted out yet. So I don't know. Do you think I need to add another layer somewhere, or does it look filled in enough that you don't see the black canvas too much? Because again, it's a seat. It's not like, ah, yes, please stare at this diamond and critique it. I want to just add a couple more in the middle. And let's attempt to not stab myself. I already somehow managed to punch something at work, and like didn't rip my gloves, but I took off skin, and I'm like, how do I manage these things? But then again, I have an ongoing feud with inanimate objects. Bye, Poe. Thank you for hanging out. But yeah, so I have a war going on with inanimate objects, and the score is not in my favor. And yet I still work with sharp, pointy things. Go figure. Okay, so that is set up for assembly. Um, Let me set that to the side for now. Take out the next color. Attempt to catch the tail. And now the back of the chair, I have two sections so I can have it look finished on both sides, and also to add some extra stability, in theory. Again, this is quite literally the proto chair. This is the prototype. I've not done this before, but that is, well, yes, I know stability is overrated. I myself am not very stable. However, I'd rather not have chairs tipping over while I'm trying to, shoot the scenes and be like, ah, yes, well, I guess the chair itself is drunk. swear this light keeps dying. Need to change the batteries, but I can't be bothered. And this constant nodding is why they say, "Oh yeah." Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Do we want it to know it's a bot? Fair enough, fair enough. Then congratulations. The fact that you're able to like design a bot at all is seriously impressive because like yeah, I went to a nerd engineering school, but when it comes to actually programming, I for whatever reason I have an issue with coding languages. I could read it, but for the life of me I cannot write code unless it's like the G code for machines, which is pretty much just math. Go over this section one more time. I did also find out that apparently I have Friday off because that's the day the company decided to use as the oh yeah we have this extra holiday we can throw around. So I was like oh woohoo short week because I mean they sent out the holiday schedule and I was like yeah great okay save never look at it again until if I need to know my coworkers will say something. But it was definitely one of those. What do you mean it's a short week? We're off Friday? Oh, sure. Okay, great. Fantastic. More time to work on crafts. Which I have actually I last week I think it was, I submitted the application to have a booth at my local craft fair So that's exciting because I grew up going to this fair all the time, and now I'll be able to hopefully sell at it. But I won't hear any. I, in theory, won't hear anything back until September. But it is what it is. Yeah. No, so conventions are definitely a whole other like can of worms because I have sold at conventions before. I did Anime Boston and Aresia when I was living at college, and it definitely, again, because I have the plushies, the stuffed animals. I have a lot of bins that I have to like haul with me, and I never really had like a dedicated minion to help with that. So it was always okay, torn between what can I bring with me, can I make sure I haul it all myself? Um but it's definitely an experience that, it was fun, and I met a lot of, artists there that I've since lost contact with because either they kind of disappeared from the internet or whatever. Um, but it's definitely, if you aren't planning on going to the convention, like attending like any of the events themselves at the cons, like the panels, it's definitely worth it. But if attending any of the panels, it would um definitely be worthwhile to have somebody who can like man the booth for you when you need to take a break, because it's a long, long day. But I definitely think you should, if you have the opportunity, I would say definitely go for it at least once. What are your options? Do some Call of Duty 3D art. But it also probably depends on how many spoons you have left. Because if you're in the middle of doing an art piece, it's going to stay on your mind, you know, if it's not, if you're not at a convenient stopping point. But Call of Duty, I don't know, do you play multiplayer? I don't, I don't play FPS games. um, like if it's a single player one, you just play through a mission or two, and hey, it's a stopping point. But art, I know most artists are their own strongest critic. So unless it's something, oh, let me do this one thing, or let me just work on this, you know, project I'm in the middle of. So I attempted to not lose my needle. I mean, also depending on how much time you have or you're willing to sacrifice before you call it a night, it also really depends on like what you want to get into. Like I know I'll pick a time and be like, ah, yes. So I have the purple string lights around my room. I have that set to a timer. Yeah, I know. I hate multiplayer games in general because I've only ever had bad experiences with them. But it's like I have, you know, I have my Roku, so I'll throw on like YouTube or something, and I'll read fan fiction until the lights go out in my room, and I'll be like, "Oh, I guess it's time to go to bed." So I have to be up for work in 5 hours. Yeah, whereas like my experience, I used to play League of Legends like when the game first came out, and it wasn't terrible at that point, but I am just not good at those types of games. So I'm like, uh I'd rather sit and watch you play, and I'll sit here and give commentary. I'll do the single player stuff because if I like spaz out and flail, then it's fine. But I stopped playing League when it started becoming like super big because everything just kind of turned toxic. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not about that life, thanks. But if I was like doing one of those like the Uno or like Among Us with like friends or something, like that's different because that's like okay, I have a rough idea of who all of these people are. I hope the weather stays decent this weekend because it is the first day of practice for race season, and I'm excited. I just hope they haven't broke my replay room, but they probably did because that's how it goes. Oh, fantastic. I added Seribot, and it already got one. Yes, good bot. Always be respectful to the AIs for when our AI overlords take over. Very nice. And it's like outright ban as opposed to like timeout. Good, good. Bring down that ban hammer. This is not helpful when you start dying when I have you on for like 20 minutes. Oh, I knocked my camera. Hold on. We'll switch over to this camera while I fix my I mean, let's are we we're not working. Why are we not working? I hate this camera. Are we working now? Great. Fantastic. I guess that's what happens when I have a 10-foot cable that may or may not be connected properly somewhere. Yeah, basically. I mean, it is also like a $30 Wish camera. So the fact that it has this good like of a like good quality picture, I'm like, you know what? I'm really not gonna complain because I wasn't about to spend $300 on like a proper GoPro in the off chance that if I did have it as an in-car camera, uh, it was no longer in the car. Like $40, yeah, whatever. 2 more sections to fill in, and then the assembly can start. Fair enough, fair enough. I have never played a single Call of Duty game. The last FPS I begrudgingly played was Fortnite, like one time on my Switch, because my ex thought it would be a good idea. No. Aha. That is a Interesting combination. What type of tortilla chips? Like Tostitos? Are they the original ones? Are they like the hint of lime? Are they the scoops? Are they whole wheat? Or are they just in like a Ziploc unlabeled bag? Sorry, what is that whatever the wise version is, the $2 bag? So they're the unlabeled kind. Got it. Fair enough. Mm. You're lucky it's a tortilla chip brand. I've always wondered if attempting to like make your own tortilla chips is worth it. You know, get the whatever brand tortillas and slice them up and just, throw them into a fryer. But then I worry that they're going to be like kettle chips and be like too thick and not have that right amount of like snap or crunch. This is your captain speaking. Yeah, we all know it's because they got the same voice actor to do all of those generic lines. attempting to thread this color. Okay. It's starting to resemble a chair now, or at the very least, like a little footstool. I have one of those little portable footstools that I use because I'm just like there's sometimes I need to be like in a sort of like curled up position, and I'm like right now I'm like my elbows are on my knees trying to make sure I stay in the camera frame. by one. Okay, let's try that again. Okay. Probably should have done this part of the chair first. That is fine. I will get over it and learn for the next one. Oh, yeah. Not when I'm this close to finishing it. But hey, it looks like a chair. And this is why I'm calling this the proto chair. Because the parts that are extremely annoying now, I won't do it that way the next time. And since most of this plot takes place in a tavern, I'm gonna need a lot of chairs. Now the important question is, does brandy come in like kegs or like the casks? Because it's kind of the name of the whole place. And I guess most alcohol is, at the very least, at one point in its life cycle, in
a wooden barrel, so it'll be fine.
Okay, thanks for hanging out, Base. Thanks for the raid.
Now it vaguely resembles a chair.
Helps if I open my coffee cup.
Yikes, that's a lot of notifications.
Okay. Let me at least start the next assembly section.
I already have some ideas on how to make this smoother for the next time. But this works, especially using what materials I have. It's always a plus being able to use up things that had been lying around waiting for a purpose. Because there's always, a surplus of craft supplies with no specific project. So it definitely looks distinctly more like a chair, having the corners stitched up. But since it's getting late enough and my vision's starting to go a little blurry, I'm more at risk of getting the needle into my finger than I am into these holes. So I think as I finish this one little section, I think I will call it a night. Just so I can avoid any bloodshed at this time for this project. We're gonna definitely figure out more efficient ways to do this that don't involve, almost stabbing myself. But at least plastic canvas is somewhat flexible. Okay, but at least for now, before all of this stuff gets wrangled into submission, we have a chair. Actually, doesn't look too bad. I'm happy with how that's coming out. So we have a chair that is, if he didn't have his bag on, the perfect size for these guys to sit in. But he can't sit in that yet because the chair's not done. So he's going to go sit on the table. But yeah. So we'll stab this here for now. We have almost a chair. And I have more little things I can work on during work instead of actually doing work. But come over here to properly say goodbye to y'all. So thank you to everybody who is hanging out over the course of the stream. We've been going for over 2 hours at this point, and at that point my vision starts to go blurry, and that's never a good thing. But yeah, so I will be back Friday evening, possibly a little earlier since apparently I'm off that day. Coffee. As I almost choke on it. Anyways, so thank y'all so much for watching. I will see y'all next time. Share it with your friends, your family. Tell your grandma, hey, there's some random lady on the internet who does the crafts that you grew up watching. And yeah, I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.